Skechers' new ad pushing girls to spend their daddy's money. The company trying to put its best foot forward for this new shoe line of theirs, but Gary B. Smith says that Skechers is tapping into a generation that's actually beginning to grow up thinking Uncle Sam is their sugar daddy. Penny Young, Nance, says it's a horrible message to be sending to our kids. So, Penny, you don't like the message. Explain.
Well, the question is, what do they mean? Do they mean your daddy or do they mean your sugar daddy? I mean, the sad reality, Neil, is that about 43% of our kids in this country are born out of wedlock, and only about 45% live their entire childhood with a mom and a dad in the home. And so for a whole group of little girls, and by the way, this is targeted to tween girls. This is not targeted to older teens. This is little girls. And the whole message is daddy's money. Is that your sugar daddy? I mean, what are we telling them? What are we talking about? This is Women's History Month, Neil, and the messages that Skechers is sending to our kids is absolutely the wrong one for young women.
All right. Well, the company is responding outside to say to us that they don't make a big deal of it. The company providing this statement to Fox Business, I think the gist of it is the daddy's money name and the collections advertising are designed to be fun and lighthearted, and we regret that some people have been offended by the name. Gary B., what do you make of just that reaction?
Well, I kind of agree with Skechers in this point. I mean, they're going after the whole spoiled kid segment, which continues to grow. But, you know, Neil, that segment's been around for, my gosh, thousands of years. Just tune into Downton Abbey if you want to see spoiled young women, and that was a few hundred years ago. So that phenomenon I don't think is new. If Skechers thinks they can make money at it, go ahead. I'm worried about the bigger issue, as you kind of alluded to, and it's this whole issue of spending other people's money. You know, I agree with Penny. I don't think it's the right message to send, but, you know, from a bigger perspective, that's what the current administration is encouraging. They're saying, look, we're going to take money from other people and we're going to spread it out. So essentially, we got, 45% of the country receiving some sort of, you know, government financial aid. They're spending other people's money instead of saying, let's get out there and all earn our own way. And if we reap the rewards of our hard work, we get to keep most of it.
You know, I'm looking at this ad campaign. I can agree with you. There are bigger issues, you know, to sort of look at right now, Gary. But I also think, Penny, you hit on something to this larger context, and this is my view, that's sort of a metaphor or an ad for our times here. The company could have come up with any other name.
That's right.
And it came up with this. And I think to relay the message, we live in an environment and a society where someone else is going to pay. And if you have kids, I spoil my own. I don't like it to be assumed that I will always spoil them. I'll spoil them, but obviously they assume that I'll continue doing so. You know, and I probably will. But I guess what I'm seeing here is an expectation that it's going to happen.
Well, and certainly, Neil, American parents, I mean, there's books, all the how-to books on parenting. Look in the bookstore these days are about how not to raise entitled kids. And, of course, that's a concern. But I'm pointing to the sexualization of kids. We saw Abercrombie do it with push-up bathing suits for 8-year-olds. We've seen these really sexy Halloween costumes that CWA, Concerned Women for America, has talked about. You know, I am a you know, capitalist. I believe in a free market economy, but also believe in good corporate citizenship. And corporations need to use their head, and we will get to complain to their boards and to the companies if they don't, and we will do that. But we would really appreciate they consider in their marketing not sounding like pedophiles.
No, there is that. I mean, in the end, Gary, I do think it speaks for our times, an environment where none of this shocks people. I think it would just pass most others up and say, oh, it's kind of cute. But I think it's a sort of a reflection of the world we live in.
I absolutely agree. I don't think it's particularly, you know, Skechers' fault in this case. I think they're just riding the trend, and I think what you're voicing is what I think bothers a lot of people. We don't like the trend, if you will, because if it wasn't Skechers, it would be someone else taking advantage of the phenomenon, and we're just not happy with the phenomenon. It's a different age than when the three of us grew up.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself. As you know, I'm much younger. Oh, if that
Me
were
too,
true.
Neil.
If that were true. All right, guys, thank you both very much. Hope you have a very safe sequestration weekend.